All right, guys, it is finally here and available for you to purchase. This is the Empath Leader. This is a book that I co-wrote with 4 other amazing authors. I've been talking about it, but today I wanted to share an interview that I did with Claudia Cauterucci. She's the main author of this book. She's the one who invited me to be a part of this collaboration. And this is an interview that we actually recorded about 4 months ago. So it was before the book was actually out. So I wanted to record an intro to let you see the book, to let you know it's available on Amazon. The Audible will be coming out soon. We even have a hardback available. So I'm super excited about this. If you're interested in the book, you can find the link in the description box and in the pinned comment at the top of this video. But whether you get the book or not, this interview is definitely worth listening to. We talk a lot about what is happening right now on the planet and how empaths are really stepping into our next level of leadership, and that we're being called to step into leadership because the world is asking for leaders that are connected to the human heart, that are wise in the keeping of humanity. So without further ado, here's my interview with Claudia Cauterucci. Make sure you get the book. Make sure you leave a comment. It really helps. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you next week. I am so excited to have Claudia on my channel. She's been on my channel before. She's been on my podcast before. But today I'm excited to bring her on because we are talking about a project that we have been working on together. It's a project that she initially started and then invited me on into the second, I guess, publication of it, and that is the Empath Leader book. I've tweeted it out before. I talked about it on the first round, but Claudia asked me to be a part of it this second time, and I wanted to have a conversation about the book to introduce you guys to it. First of all, hi, welcome back.
Hi, love it.
Welcome back to my channel. I haven't had anyone on my channel for a while, so I'm excited to bring you on and all the other authors on. And I would love to just start out with you talking a little bit about why you, like, what inspired you to write, to start and initiate this book. It's called Empath Leader, The Empath Leader. And yeah, like what, like, I just want to hear what inspired you, and we'll just go back and forth because we have a
Yeah,
lot to share with everybody.
yeah. And we want to highlight that. Thank you. I'm really honored to be here. I
Yes.
just love being here with you in your field. I just really adore it, Amanda. So and let's include the subtitle, which is Transforming Humanity's Algorithm, which we'll be talking about a lot today. It's so important, especially with everything you talk about. So the first thing I say is that I woke up from a dream because I had not meant at all to ever write anything on empaths or the empath leader. And this has happened to me before where I'm given some sort of title like dynamic, which is my self-healing modality, the empath leader. However, I think that it had been brewing because during the pandemic, I was listening to you.
Mm.
So I think the inspirational seeds, the fire in my body, the sort of this moving around in my head about these concepts about the being an empath, which, I literally felt like my eyes tilted backward because I felt it so powerfully when you spoke about it. And I think
Mm.
there's a bunch of us who follow you and who love and admire your work who have felt the same way. And basically where you were putting the empath in the middle of what you discuss in the middle of your discourse. So I think there'd been a lot of massaging, not only about my identifying myself as an empath and realizing all those gifts, but also I just really woke up from the dream that said the empath leader. And you know that I am a natural leader. So it made sense to put it together in that way. Am I
Mhm.
answering the question?
Totally. And
Yeah.
you work with a lot of empaths. I want to give people, Claudia is a psychotherapist for anyone who doesn't know, and she works in Washington, D.C. She's out of Washington, D.C., and works with a lot of leaders, a lot of empaths and a lot of leaders. So I think that that's also part of, you are very much a catalyst for people, for empaths in particular, because it's an intense time, and we're going to dive into that, the times right now and why now, like why the empath leader, Why changing humanity's algorithms? Why now? Like it's just, the times are so ripe for this.
Yes, yes. And even we published the book last fall, but and the co-authors, you, us, we've been talking about like, wow, maybe that was the first draft because divine timing feels like it's so precise right this
Mhm.
minute for the
Precise.
second edition of this book. And I think it's just there's such a power punch to this book, and especially with you being one of the contributing authors, it's incredible. And the first chapter in the book talks about the times because we cannot introduce these concepts and these in this book without talking about the zeitgeist that it's born from.
Hmm.
This we are here for this moment, and I think anyone who watches you, anyone who works with me, follows me, and I do work with creatives, with empaths, with leaders, um, you know, thinkers, a lot of sort of people who really put their thought leadership out there is the zeitgeist that we're in. And if we want to work like we always do, Amanda, multidimensionally, it is a 9 year,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
2 + 2 + 5. It is a 9 year, which is a year of completion.
Yep.
Pluto has gone into, the Aquarius and Pluto are joined right now. And that hasn't happened since the French Revolution, the American Revolution, the Haitian Revolution.
Mhm.
So there is something about this time being a time of great change. Of
Yes.
great change. And the thing that the book says in the first chapter is it's the year of the snake as
Hmm.
well in Chinese astrology. So what we know is that there's a lot of shedding of skin and transformation. And there's also, the snake carries secrets in its skin. So it's a time of truth,
Yes.
of
Yes.
radical truth telling. And I think we're going to see all of that. The
Hmm.
towers are falling. The one thing that the first chapter talks about is that unsustainable systems will fall.
Yep.
And but just organically, right? And
Hmm.
some of these systems were may have, like, just for like root chakra healing, may have been built on a derailed root chakra, collective root chakra, planetary root chakra. There were more shadows, more secrets when
Hmm.
some of these systems had been originally created. And so anything based on that is going to start to collapse. So
Yep.
it is a time of tower, but as the tarot says, I love the tower card because it means that there's going to be a great rebirth, a great cleansing.
Mhm.
Um, right? Healing is all about that, is getting into all of the roots and cleaning it all the way through.
Exactly.
So
And the empath
yeah.
is prepped for that. I believe a lot of empaths, especially I know my audience and people you've worked with as well, have been really prepared for this time for the last 10 years, even whether they realize it or not. We have been prepared probably our whole lives being prepared for this, but especially I know a lot of empaths have been working on just getting empowered, getting including themselves in the equation, allowing their yes to be yes and their no to be no. And that is the difference. I've said this multiple times, but between when an empath is in a disempowered state, we hold together that lack matrix. We hold it together. We hold that system together because the empath is so needed in every creation. The empath is needed. The emotion is needed. The heart is needed because the human is the magic. So the difference now that I feel and why I'm so excited about empaths stepping into their power is because when the empath says no and truly steps into that boundary, the tower falls because everything that was dependent on the empath not having a will, not asserting their will, everything that was dependent on that falls. And it happens, it's not something we don't have to directly make the tower fall. It indirectly falls through us choosing our yes and choosing to include ourselves in the equation. And I think the reason the empath is so important in this is because the deep sensitivity and the deep precision and discernment when it comes to uh, that holistic win-win-win space, where that we have this pristine, I think, ability to feel into what is a true win-win-win. And the problem is, historically, for thousands of years, empaths haven't included themselves in the equation.
Mhm.
So it's they when we're not in the equation, we're off. Something's off because we are the human. We are that like space where all that discernment comes from. So I feel very excited about just the prep empaths have done and this work. I know with my clients, there's a radical transformation happening for people
Yes,
right now.
yes, yes. And Amanda, do you mind? I think we already talked about, but you and I have a tendency to riff, to like be, it's like a jam session that we do
Mhm.
together. So I would also like to ask you a few questions as we go back and forth
Yeah,
as you're
yeah.
speaking, especially for folks who are going to, on my end, the people, my audience, to really understand some of your concepts. But let me backtrack what you said, that it's not that anyone is forcing the towers to fall.
Hmm.
And you're reminding me of the book Codependent No More.
Mm.
And one of the things that she talks about and right, because that's really what's happening. If the all is in the small and the small is in the all, which is that phrase I've coined, right? The individual is the collective and the collective is the individual,
Hmm.
is that when the empath stops being codependent on anything, on other
Hmm.
people's energies, on other people's emotions, on other people's dynamics, on serving, right? Because that's what codependence is. Codependence is enabling all the behaviors around us in order for us to feel soothed, although it never happens. It's an addictive cycle. It
Yeah.
never happens, so we keep chasing that carrot. But hold on.
Hmm.
In the book Codependent No More, she says that all you have to do, you do not change the other.
Hmm.
We are not here to change the other. We change our own dance. And the
Exactly.
moment that we change the steps to the dance, imagine, right? And we stay consistent with, like, no, I'm not dancing like that anymore. I'm
Hmm.
dancing like this.
Hmm.
You're more than welcome to come. But I'm not enabling the system anymore. So that is when relationship dynamics, all is in the small, small is in the all, and our relationship to the collective, to energetics, to everything changes. So I really like when you said that we're not out there forcing anything. We're
Yep.
just changing the dance inside of ourselves.
Hmm.
So Amanda, can you say a little more? Just break it down in like baby talk about what you mean by empaths putting themselves in the equation. Like, because that's where it all starts. This empowerment all starts there.
Yes. I love this question because when you were talking just now, what I thought about is kind of the origins of an empath and the how empaths are so good, usually from the time they're children, at feeling into a room, feeling into dynamics and adjusting and harmonizing. That's our gift. And harmonizing, harmonizing, harmonizing. So when we are constantly focused on the other or the external, often we're getting the feedback loop from others. So are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? Okay, then I'm okay. And this sort of belief that we have to, that it's our job or our role to to hold that harmony, or to be able to um, keep peace, hold the peace. And I think for an empath, it can be very difficult. We don't like feeling the conflict. We don't like feeling the conflict of the world around us. And so there's this belief that we get, that we're just trained into, that we believe that, again, if everything is okay outside of us, then we'll be okay. And so including ourselves in the equation, as you said, it's like flipping that on its head and actually knowing, like, from my central nervous system out, that I actually have permission, even if there is division, even if there is disharmony, even if no matter what's going on out there, I have permission to take a deep breath, to regulate my central nervous system, to say no, to walk away, to pivot my attention to move into my preference. And
Yeah.
I think, at least for me, and I know for so many people I've worked with, we didn't know we were allowed to. We just didn't know. We didn't even know we were allowed to have a preference. So that I feel like is a big place, kind of what I was saying earlier about empaths being prepared for this time. I feel like that's what we've been learning is how to include our preference into the equation, how to include our central nervous system. So instead of, oh, Claudia, I need to make sure you're okay so that I feel okay. Oh, I can feel okay even if you don't feel okay. And I can be okay with you not feeling okay. Like I can let you feel how you feel, and I can feel how I feel. And I can have actual um, peace in my central nervous system with the fact that there might be feelings that are intense. Someone can be angry and that's okay. A big thing for me was like realizing, and I know a lot of empaths do this, is that we feel like everyone has to like us, that if we're not liked, that we're somehow doing something wrong. And so for me, a big one was like, oh, it's okay if people don't like me. That's what YouTube broke me of, is it's okay if people hate me. It's okay if people don't like me. It's okay if people are deeply offended. Like some people are deeply offended by what I teach. That's okay. That's okay. And this just like sounds so simple, but it's like, wow, that's okay. It's like it's so freeing. It's
I
so
know we need
freeing.
a t-shirt with that says that.
Seriously.
Yeah, and for your audience to know, sometimes I'm taking notes because I really want to come back to some of the points you're making. So if I'm looking down and taking notes,
Yeah,
it's like,
me too, by the way. I have notes in my phone, so it's
yeah,
like
yeah, just
looking.
because of course when we're talking, like we will riff for 2 hours straight. So
Mhm.
so one of the things, if is it okay if I piggyback and
Yeah,
and
keep going.
and
Yeah.
and sort of this is just some highlights of the book is one of the reasons, and I'll bring in my psycho-spiritual approach into this, is that what happens is what I call it like the root chakra starts to lean when we're children. And it's
Hmm.
like the leaning tower of chakras, like the leaning tower of Pisa, because we begin, because our root chakra, which is the chakra of stability, safety, security, belonging,
Hmm.
when we're dropped into families that have conflicts or abuse or dysregulation, right? Like this sensitive creature that we are, because that's what we're hardwired to be. We
Hmm.
are hardwired, if we want to talk about technology, right? Human tech, which
Yeah.
you coined that, like we are hardwired to be harmonizers. That's why conflict is such like a buzz, like like it's a buzz. It really rattles our entire nature. So so we start to lean and overcompensate into the sacral and solar plexus, right? Which are the ways to live on the 3D. And so those start to burgeon
Hmm.
and dysregulate themselves. And so we're away from the root. And so part of this empowerment that you're describing and that we talk about in the book is actually coming back in, cleaning that root out and
Yes.
docking into our belonging security that's not coming from others.
Hmm.
It's coming from us being, right? Yeah, right. Mostly we're parentified, which is we're like we're so skilled at becoming really quick adults to help the harmony work, which is what we talk about in the book, which is when we flip that into leadership, when we flip that into skills, right? We are super empowered.
Exactly. Yes. Ooh, I love that. And when you said parentified, I
Yeah,
mean, I know that's how it's like a whole psychological term, but how would you describe that when it comes to the empath?
yeah, yeah. It's this the parentified most empaths, at least the ones I've worked with, I want to say all of them have been parentified. And what that means is that the parents, for in different scenarios, so either the parents are so dysregulated and immature that the empath, in order to keep the peace in the family unit, will grow up very quickly,
Mm-hmm.
will be, and these are some examples, will be very good, very nice, very straight A student, clean. Like it's also the parent might make the empath, because the empath has this amazing ability to feel other people's feelings. We're psychic that way, to feel energetics, that they become the best friend to the adult.
Mm-hmm.
They become the best friend. And I've coined this term party of one. We become the party of one,
Yeah.
which means that we're little kids who are solving problems not only for the family unit, but for ourselves by ourselves a lot. So there's this existential aloneness that the empath feel. And we feel, this is the trick, I think, when you're talking about coming back into the equation, Amanda, is that we feel that we're highly valued.
Mm-hmm.
See,
Mm-hmm.
we're super rewarded.
Yes.
We're so good. Look at you. You're so mature. Um, you're so articulate.
You're such a good friend. And you know, like you're the only one I can talk to. You're the only one I realized I was
Yes.
addicted to that and I didn't the only. I had a lot of people using superlatives with me. You're the only, you're the best, and I was addicted to that, needing to be the only, the best, the whatever, friend, colleague, partner.
Well, imagine, and in the backdrop of feeling abandoned or alone a lot, in the backdrop of feeling non-belonging and non-security and safety, which is all the root chakra elements, right? Thank you. We're like, thank you so much. Thank you for
Exactly.
seeing me, which is, of course, where we become prime targets in terms
Yes.
of narcissistic or toxic behaviors, relationships, right? We because just don't leave us. We'll keep serving, and this is where you come in, Amanda. We'll keep serving the parent, the family system, the collective. We'll keep
Hmm.
serving in order to get the reward. We'll go all in.
Hmm.
We'll work the extra hours. We'll soothe until we're depleted. Be,
Follow all the rules. We'll hold together, like whatever. For some reason, religion popped up. We do this with religion too. The
yes,
same thing.
yes, yes, yes,
We'll hold it together.
yes. And because we also see the good.
Hmm.
We're
Yes.
hardwired to see the good, to see the promise,
Hmm.
to see, because we don't just sympathize, right? We actually feel other people's trauma.
Yeah.
It's a slippery slope.
Hmm.
We feel, as my son's description of the empath is, we feel bad for the bad guy in the movie. Like
Yes.
we're watching
Totally.
a movie feeling really bad
Yep.
for the bad
Hmm.
guy, right? Like whatever, the bad, the good. Let's take that
Yeah.
with a grain of salt. We don't mean it that way, but it's a really good way to encapsulate it.
Exactly.
And the idea with empath leadership is these are actually gifts.
Hmm.
We just don't know that we're so gifted.
Yes.
For
Well,
the
that's kind of
longest
what
time.
sorry, go ahead. I
Go
didn't
ahead.
mean to.
No, keep
I was
going.
just gonna say that as you're saying all this, what I kind of wanted to like differentiate is with empath leader changing humanity's algorithm, like what is it like, how, and especially for you, I want to get this from like your words. And by the way, Claudia wrote like 80% of the book. So there's other contributing authors, and I'll be introducing all of them, by the way, on my channel. But and I'm so excited because it's such an amazing group of people. Like I truly feel lucky. But from your perspective, like what is that shift and what is that difference? Because we're talking right now about that we are hardwired for this, but that the downfall can be not including ourselves in the equation. So this book is kind of about transforming that. So our algorithm isn't in lack and it isn't in codependency and it isn't in self-sacrifice because we're moving out of sacrifice, period. That's kind of what I believe is that we can't sacrifice and have a holistic system. So I'm curious, like for you and your inspiration for the book, what is your message about that?
Yeah. Let's talk like a few words on sacrifice just to like it's like to give it like multiple ways of talking about that, which is the empath is really willing to pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's a lot of, and let's all in the small and the all, if you're in a home that where there's a lot of fighting, the empath will share none of their needs or wants or distresses to keep the peace.
Yeah.
So the empath will hide, will get quiet, um, in order to not be a burden. And I know a lot of the people watching us will be like, oh, I don't want to be a burden. I don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be a bother. So, and that's sacrificial. That
Yes.
is, we are willing to fall on the sword to cover for others, to enable. And part of the codependence is, and this is a nuance, is codependence on energetics, not just people, codependence on feelings, which is what you were describing.
Mm-hmm.
So I we can't talk about empath leadership without talking about your concepts, Amanda, because the first place, so the book is divided in sort of ish. The first 6 chapters are everything that the empath needs to know to basically come back into their own healed root chakra because they must heal.
Yes. Yes.
The second part is all about leadership because and the bridge is the kind heart, and you'll see it in the book. The bridge is our heart. So you imagine how you and I are going to riff on the heart, but the first part is all about putting themselves in the equation. And the way that I say it, Amanda, I'm not as sophisticated as you, is like 1 + 0 = 1.
Yeah. Yep.
But one
Yeah.
plus one equals two. There's two of us here. There's
Exactly.
I count in this equation. And one of the things I emphasize in the first part of the book is empaths cannot mess around. Self-care is non-negotiable. Like our central nerve, it's not luxury, it's not a day at the spa. It's a daily practice of how am I caring for myself?
Mm-hmm.
It is, I put on the mask first before I'm out there putting the mask on others. It is that whole adage of,
Yes.
right? And so I can't highlight that enough, that if you don't take seriously the first part of the book, we're back to the same thing. You
Mm-hmm.
are expending yourself
Yes.
into the world of others, into the world of activism, into the worlds of your family. If you're a mom, a dad, you're giving yourself away, you're depleting yourself, all your gifts are going into debt. Let's say it like that. They're just going into debt.
Yes.
So the second part, and Amanda, let me talk a little bit about you. Preference. Can you say something about preference? Can you say really like, can you anchor us into what you mean by preference and how it
Yes.
marks boundaries and because even boundaries is like an inflamed word for empaths because we don't know how to do it. We feel like we're rejecting people.
Mhm.
It's so inflamed. The empath is very particular language.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Preference for me, and I've said this before, but I, when I came to that word specifically about what we're in relation to what we're talking about, was when I was working with Rachel Jensen on Urge. We were introducing Urge into Gen Magic, and that first run of, or the second run of that course, and I was really. I really struggling with the, like, how do I get in touch with my urge, my creative urge? Like, because that really is what drives it. And that's often what empaths are, they're not in alignment with, is their own creative urge, because they're plugged into the creative urge of of like the other, of the external. And I felt like I can't even get to my creative urge because I don't know what I prefer moment to moment. Like, so often we don't listen moment to moment to moment. Even like, do I prefer this color or this color? Or do I want to drive this way to work or this way to work? You know, just little thing. And those sound so simple. And But I realized for me personally, and it's been a huge game changer working with clients as well, is teaching myself and teaching others to pay attention moment to moment to moment to moment to moment to preference. And I think there's so many
Mm,
things that, especially for me, like I grew up in a huge family. So you don't get, we were poor and we were a huge family. So you don't really get to think of your preference. You know what I mean? Like it's just you have to survive. So there's even a message often embedded in that that it's selfish to have preference. And yet preference is what tips us over, I believe, into art, into our unique individual expression. So for me, that's what I mean when I say preference. Like, I don't even think you can get to your creative urge until you at first at least know what your preference is, moment to moment. Even if there are certain situations where you can't have what you prefer, or there's lots of people involved, and so it involves compromise. But even just knowing what your preference is, you knowing first, like, what do I prefer here? Even if I'm okay to like have wiggle room, or even, I prefer this, but I'm also pretty easygoing because I am in general. I don't have to have my way all the time. But even just to know in my mind, for me, what's my preference? And I think this is so important because I believe that empaths within our hearts, like you said, our heart is the bridge to heaven on earth. And I believe that we lay down the code for heaven on earth through our preference and through our creative expression, because it's so much deeper than we realize. Empaths, and you guys know that when I say empaths, I mean the human tech. Our human tech is very much wired for sovereignty and communion, and you can't have one without the other.
you're twined.
You cannot have communion without sovereignty. Otherwise it's some form of codependence and manipulation. So it's like we have to get out of this, which I feel like empaths get enslaved in a lot, is this idea that we have to serve the master instead of we're the master. My central nervous system is the master. My creative urge is the master. And my relationship to life and my creative urge, that's what determines everything else. So does
Yeah.
that kind of like
Oh, I
fit
love
what
it.
you're
Well, I
saying?
think the psycho-spiritual language there is that what happens is that we begin to give up our preference in service of the collective, of the family system, of the family unit.
Yes, and we get rewarded for it,
And
and
we
we
get,
think it's
well, you're
good
so
and
easy.
right.
You're
Yeah.
so good. You're so
Mm-hmm.
easy. What do you want to eat? Oh, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
What do you like? What do you want to do? Oh, I don't care. I don't care. And check it out. When we don't care, it loses value. What do you want to be paid? Oh, I don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Value starts to decrease. And so psychologically, if we're working just with other humans or empaths, starting to identify, like, what do I care about? Like, and do I care about, starting with me? I must care about me, because what happens is the dissolution of self,
Mm-hmm.
right? The dissolution of self. And of course, this is where I say we're prime targets, right? If we have no self, then we're like tofu. We'll just go with anything. We can get flavored anyway, and we can be dominated. Like, we
Yeah.
can just so easily be dominated by people who are more wounded than us. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so we match the wound that way. We're a plug and socket for people who are more wounded, and we're just easy that way. And that is in terms of the collective as well. It's easy to follow a cult leader. It's
Yep.
easy to be dominated by an abusive coach. It's easy. And so
Mhm.
psychologically, preference, self-care. What do I care about? Starting with us. And I would say that it's selfish, yes, but with capital SELF, the
Mm.
self, in the
Yes.
highest, most, in the highest meditative way. I love the self. And this idea also, you just this thought of, like, we can't, what did you say, Amanda? We can't do sovereignty without
Communion.
communion. And I would say we can't do sameness, where we are in unity consciousness, that we're all the same as humans, without doing uniqueness.
Yep. Exactly.
Right? Like
Exactly.
part of the balance, the yin and yang, like what we're trying to do in higher concepts is, yes, we're the same as humans. We have the birthright. We have the sovereignty, the birthright of worthiness, period.
Mhm.
Because we are all the same human species, which you and I talk about. But what makes the Renaissance happen is living into our uniqueness. So there's a lot of this
Yes.
balance.
Yes. I keep seeing, like, I feel like spirit keeps showing me that it's like a fingerprint. There's a reason why your fingerprint is so unique and nobody else has it. And if we don't live out our unique expression, we literally, heaven on earth cannot be fully built, because it is the wholeness of it is everyone in their sovereignty, everyone in their unique creative expression. And like you said, you can't really have one without the other. So we can't really connect on our sameness if we're not in our individuality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because so what happens, and exactly, Amanda, what happens is, again, we talk about this rigid duality, right? So we're either super separate and super unique, and I'm not like everyone else.
Yep.
That ends up being, so I'm against you, which is the war vibe, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm against you. My group is against you, my tribe, my whatever, my club, my
Mm-hmm.
religion, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
so we emphasize separateness,
Yep.
or how about this? You talk about this, you've given me the language, or we emphasize sameness into mimic. And both are
Yes.
extremes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both are extremes. Then we're like, assimilate, be like everyone else,
Yep.
walk in with the same beat, everyone, right?
Mm.
So either ultra separateness, which pulls us into the war vibe, and mimic pulls us into sleepwalking.
Yes.
We go to sleep.
Mm-hmm.
We go into, and psychologically, depression, anxiety, mood disorders, because our uniqueness, our emotions, which is what makes us unique, which draw our life story, is what we feel.
Yeah.
So I think what we're proposing in the book, but I've always heard you propose it, is this idea of that balance of, we are all human and we all have the birthright of worthiness. And once we know that, check it out, once we're securely attached psychologically, once we're in healed root chakra with belonging, safety, and security, we can go explore our uniqueness, right? It's so it's secure attachment at its
Mm-hmm.
best.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yes, that's such a good way to put it. And I love that phrase, secure attachment. It just it changes everything for me, because even the phrase has helped me to realize where I wasn't securely attached. And even it for me, it's made me aware of the opposite of that. Like, oh wow, all these places where I was trying to go to the external world to feel secure, instead of, I love the way you say, docked into my own root chakra. And to me, it's docked. That's how we dock into like source, because it's from the inside out. You know what I mean? Like, even in spirituality, I often have like had this little bit of a like snarl around how it's often talked about as like inviting the light in from above, or like out. It's this idea of like some light coming to you, but the way that I feel is like it's from the heart out, like the source is in here. We're not getting something from external from us, although there is the external as well, and we can also get fed from the external. But the deepest docking in is being docked into the internal. It's like from the inside out. And that for me was a game changer, because I grew up sort of thinking of God as somewhere out there. And I had to find the right religion, because that was big around me. Who's the true church? What's the true church? What's the true philosophy? So I spent years and years looking out there. And then it was what political party is the right one? And what club's the right one? And what, like it's all this external, which is so about mimic. And it's how the culture war, which I think is what we're in majorly, it's part of how we get in that division that you talked about, where we see ourselves separate. And there's something about from the inside out that really docks us into individuality and the way that source or God or whatever you want to call it is expressed through us uniquely, which is what the world wants. We wouldn't even
Mm.
be here. I mean, think about the evolution of you, all the history that had to happen for you to be here. We are so valuable and we're keys, we're like cornerstones for heaven on earth. But we devalue all that thinking that, oh, I'm worthless and there's nothing within me and I got to find everything outside of me to make me worthy, to make me have it, be right or be good or whatever. And I think even right now with the culture wars, there's this emphasis on I hope I'm not going out into the weeds too much, but it feels relevant to what we're saying. But there's this emphasis on being right, being in the right group, being in the right political party, having the right philosophy, having the right theology, whatever it is. Like that's what makes you worthy. You're only worthy if you believe it this way or see it through this lens or join this political party or this church or this group.
Mhm.
And I think it throws us way off. It gets us into mimic, which is what you were bringing up. It's what we go to sleep and we just go to war.
Yes. Mimic and assimilation, right? That goes hand in hand. And I think what you just described is actually the history of humanity, right? Which
Yes.
is, are we with the right group? Are
Mhm.
we um, assimilating? Because if you don't, there is a high price to pay, right? Or
Mhm.
in the past,
Mhm.
there really, really, really has been. But
Yep.
that serves a particular type of system that doesn't want you to be docked in. Doesn't,
Right.
and listen, I don't want to talk a lot in sort of defiance or it's more like, how about this? We can bring it back to the subtitle, Transforming Humanity's Algorithm,
Mm.
which, and Amanda, you were one of the first people who really, I mean, when you said it, it was in me. Like I just felt like what I call like a complete root, like all my chakras lit up, which is we have to love our humanity because what we're doing is hating our humanity.
Yes.
And I think part of what's happening, even though, and I really want the audience to hear this, I know it feels really scary and turbulent because any towers falling always, like,
Yeah.
if you've been in therapy, y'all, there's some tunnels that we got to go spelunking. There's a lot of
Mhm.
beliefs that are dismantled about the self, about your family, about your culture. There's the middle part, not easy, not
Yeah.
pretty. It's pretty messy, right?
Yep.
But it is like a childbirth. Childbirth is messy. So what do you
Hmm.
do in childbirth? We breathe, we get support,
Yep.
right? We do it together. Someone's telling us to breathe and push. And I think that's what we're doing. We're birthing. And I think part of, at least in my purview, I think there's lots of us who believe this, that the veil, that the way we've been doing it, based on domination, based on superior, inferior, based on if you don't mimic, you will pay a very high price.
Hmm.
Um, and it's funny because the age of Aquarius is all about individuality and innovation. Um, so I think we are going into a new era, at least where you and I are promoting, hey, we need to come together into loving our humanity because,
Yes.
hello,
Yep.
we're all human.
Yes. Yes.
We're
And
all human.
starting with our own humanity, because I think often, especially when we're in turbulent, divisive times, it's hard to tell someone, especially when you're feeling injustice, to say, oh, just love the people or the group or the whatever that you feel like is causing all this pain. It's completely different when you bring humanity into the equation and your humanity, first and foremost. Like being so respectful of your humanity because that is the tech. And I feel like we have not understood how our human tech works. And we've just been kind of taking a dump on ourselves. That's how I feel. Like I feel like we have not I've been talking about this a lot lately, but in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which has the
Yeah.
five laws of gold in it, one of them is, I can't remember exactly how it's worded, but basically, if you want, like, you basically keep your gold with people who are wise in the keeping of gold. Like you don't share your gold with people who don't know how to take care of gold. And for me, the gold is the human heart. And I think for yourself to be wise in the keeping of the heart and to be wise, that's being wise in the keeping of your human tech, because that's what we are. That's what we have to work with. So if we're not wise in the keeping of our gold, we lose it. Like you said, we go into debt.
We give it away freely.
Yes.
And I had to write down, you always just pop my brain. I love it. I love it so
So,
much. So, okay, yeah. One of the things, I was thinking like, people, the age of Aquarius is all about technology too, right? Like innovation, innovation. And we're going to go
mhm.
into like it's going to be quantum. It's going to
Yes,
be
huge,
so fast. We're going to like,
huge.
it's going to hit the ground running. But get this, Amanda, because the way that it was like the hit that I got that I think you're going to appreciate fully is it's human technology too that's going to hit the ground running.
Yes,
It is your
yes.
psychic abilities. Like, because that's what you and I emphasize is
Mhm.
our human operating systems. We're going to know about them more than ever. And in my last podcast, I did this two-part series on the era of emotions and talking about it as an operating system that we did not come in with the manual. So we're
Yeah. Yep.
spastically emoting, and empaths in particular.
Hmm.
But once this is what emotional intelligence is all about. And by the way, this is the type of leaders that actual 3D companies and firms since the pandemic has been asking for now is the empathic leader who
Yes.
gets their people,
Who gets humanity. Yes,
who
someone who
gets
understands
humanity.
humanity. That's what the world has been lacking in as in terms of leadership. Not to say that there's never been a leader that gets it, but and I'm talking about what you're talking about, which is our true tech, which includes the psychic aspect of us, which
Yes.
includes that we're creators. It's what separates us from AI, and we're going to
Yes.
start seeing as AI comes into the picture more and more. I think we're going to start understanding on a level that we never have the value of humanity. It's going to force us to start understanding the difference and the value of it.
And craving it and urging. And that's
Hmm.
why
Urging for it.
urging.
Because there's nothing like it, and there's nothing like true human intimacy. There's nothing like just the spontaneous moment that's not pre-recorded, that's not done purely through an algorithm. Like there's something about the spirit of life that we channel that's uniquely human that I feel like that is what the Renaissance is about, is like humanity is coming online.
Yes. And we'll see it. And I want to ask people to keep tracking it. One of
Yes.
the things that I emphasize, and I love this so much because again, it was a download. And thank you, Spirit. Like, um, emotions are the true universal language. So if
Yes.
you speak Turkish and I don't, if we get grief
Yes.
over losing a parent, no matter what country you're from. And this is where
Mhm.
humanity will come together. We get romance, we get being in love, we get shame. All of us
Mhm.
all over the globe get
Yes.
abandonment. So the more we know about that tech, about that operating system, and guess who can be pros at it? The
Exactly.
empath.
Exactly. That's the key.
The empath.
Yes.
We can
Yes.
really, so let's get back to this whole idea about empath leadership, right? And it starts with everything that you teach, and certainly in psychologically, what most therapists teach. But when we talk about it in terms of leadership, right? When you dock into your root chakra, and that means that your sacral and your solar, and then we start moving into the heart, right? Imagine when we realign our chakras, for those of you who don't know chakras, it doesn't matter, it's just a visual. Just think of it as a visual of all these beautiful discs coming back into formation. where we become holistically aligned, mind, body, spirit, heart. There's so much empowerment when we can see that you are you and I am me, because I have my preference and therefore I can respect yours. Because see, the moment that I validate my own preference, I get it.
Yes.
I
Exactly.
emotionally get it. I get yours. I get your preference. I don't have to fight your preference.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's like, oh yeah, I prefer white wine. Like, I mean, little things, right? I prefer martial arts movies. Like, that's just me. Like, whatever it is. So Amanda, in talking about tech, can we talk about the heart? Because one of the things that people get confused about empaths and about the book, and if we use corporate language, because I had to use some 3D corporate language in terms of the leadership model that I am proposing. These aren't soft skills.
Yeah.
People sort of say this is woo. Are we just going to sit around and sing Kumbaya together? Because if you've ever seen an empath witness injustice, it is like lightning bolts.
Yes.
The empath is fierce, ferocious, fearless.
Yes.
If they're witnessing an injustice anywhere. So, are we harmonized? Are we hardwired for harmony? For heaven on earth? For knowing that our power and our uniqueness comes from our knowing and not bypassing our emotions, not bypassing or putting into the shadow our emotions. Because I tend to believe that that's where war comes from, Amanda.
Yes.
If we are bypassing our rage, our vengeance, our shame, all we're doing is spewing it, imploding or exploding. We're spewing our vengeance. We're spewing our rigidity. I think that's where the war vibe comes from.
Totally.
Is us bypassing our own emotions, right?
I agree.
So, and if anyone has had to navigate their emotions, you'll know that is not for the meek. And if you've had to handle other people's emotions and give it space and give it witness, as you would call it, this is not for the meek. So please do not be fooled. I always say there's a chapter I have, which is like kind but not stupid.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
Empaths are kind but not stupid. So this is not about weaknesses, or although who cares if we're weak in certain areas, but that's not what we're talking about. We're actually talking about a set of gifts that we come hardwired with, that we have used into depletion and into debt by serving, by codepending on energetics, that we are now going to transmute, transform into evolution as we become leaders. And I'm just going to say one thing, and then I want you to. And leadership, everyone, doesn't mean that you're the leader of all things or leader, a CEO. It can just mean that you are the one in your lineage that says, I'm healing. I'm no longer doing this generational trauma. It could just be you in your home.
Yes.
The book isn't talking about like, go out and lead the masses. Maybe. If people want that. If they want to start a podcast, fine. But we're talking about sovereignty.
Yes, that leadership from within. Like, I think, gosh, you just said so much that of course, how we do, my brain is like, yes, 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 yes. And when you were talking about the fierceness of an empath, and that is connected to leadership, what came to my mind is when Jesus, in an act of premeditation, makes a whip. He was planning on it. He makes a whip and he goes into the temple and he starts driving out everybody who's selling things in the temple. And I was thinking also, for some reason, these are the things that came into my mind, that the anger there, flipping over tables, but it's controlled anger. I once heard someone talk about this, and it's an author, but he was saying that even in the Bible, for whatever reason, the author puts in, there's birds, and Jesus is like, hey, take these birds out of here, because it wasn't just like rage uncontrolled. It was controlled, intentional, strategic rage. That's to me the power. And the other part, that's what happens when we're in leadership, to me,
It's
when we're
calibrated.
calibrated. That's a great way to say
I
it.
keep saying we're the DJ. Part of like the healing is that we know our emotions so well, even our grossest horror. I just did a post on vengeance. It's like, because we feel vengeance, we want vengeance sometimes.
Yes.
When we calibrate like a DJ, then we regulate.
Yes. Yes. And there's a place for it. The other thing that I thought of when you were saying that, Jesus came up both times, which of course, because he's the ultimate empath. I feel like he's the blueprint in terms of human tech. But the other thing I saw was how the Bible talks about people not being able to get near him. Like people would crowd around him, but there would always be sort of they couldn't touch him. And often he would feel people, and he would go, like, on one verse, I just read this the other day, which is strange because I haven't been reading the Bible at all, but I was reading it the other day, and he, like, it says the people were gathering around him, and he went and got on a boat to get a distance, and then taught from there. But there's always this, like, people couldn't touch him, and that's why they say when he was arrested, he knew he allowed it, because people couldn't get near him otherwise. And this is what I feel like, that's when you're in your sovereignty. It's, you don't have to, because empaths worry about or feel often like they get taken over by things, and so we
We've
feel like we have to hide
invaded.
from things. But he also fully emoted, like he would cry when he'd witness things about the people, and like, I don't know, I just feel like there's something powerful in allowing emotion. There's no, it's not this like, I'm above emotion, I don't feel anything, I'm just in
No.
this. It's like, this is the tech we're talking about. The emotions actually create boundaries. Like they actually, they create a whole vibe that I think empower us in every way, every emotion. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's rage or joy, it's for
Or
us.
passion, like
Or anything.
this
Yeah.
even it, like if we do in here and now moment, feel us,
Mm-hmm.
like feel of like how passionate we feel, like how passionate we feel about what we're discussing. Like it adds this amazing flavor that also, and I can energetically feel the audience, by the way, like I can
Mm-hmm.
energetically feel us all here,
Mm-hmm.
like we're something. In Spanish we would say me cae el cinco, which means the penny drops. I think it is in English,
I love that.
the penny drops, me cae el cinco. um and Amanda, hold on, you've talked a lot about anger, and I really want to be specific with everyone, because there is so much war vibe as part of the history of humanity since the beginning. I really like to be very clear, especially as a therapist as well. Anger is also a useful emotion because, of course, all emotions are loaded with information, right? And as we know this language that is inside of us, the universal language of emotions, we find that anger is bringing a message of some sort, a no, a stop, a boundary. I like to say the empath has a spear. We don't attack with the spear out here. We place it in the ground. We just say a big no. And
Yes.
the one thing I want to say to empaths who always judge themselves when they're angry is, listen, by the time you're feeling angry, remember, empaths will pass every exit. They'll be like, well, but they're traumatized too. Well, but
Mm-hmm.
I see their point of view. They'll pass a whole bunch of exits seeing the other's point of view, um, getting into the other's shoes, which are skills. Those are
Mm-hmm.
gifts, by the way, in leadership.
Yep.
wanting to actually resolve conflict. So those are all exits. By the time the empath, as a parent, as a friend, as a lover, as a citizen, reaches anger, listen.
Yes. Yes.
Listen to what boundary needs to be placed, pero ya, which means now. So,
Yes.
empaths, don't be ashamed or put that back into the shadow. And we're not saying go out and act out on it. On the contrary, it's like, what is this? Ask it the questions.
Yes. It has so much data, such
So
deep data.
much,
Yep.
so much.
Yes.
Amanda, can we talk about the kind heart a little bit?
Yes.
That
Let's do
this
it.
leads us into like, that's the bridge between healing ourselves and into actually going out into the world. And so your descriptions of Jesus and what I put in that chapter was this idea of we commit 100% to the kind heart, because otherwise we will become automatic, we will sleepwalk, we will go into non-humanity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But for the empath, or for any of you who are afraid of opening up the heart because we'll get invaded, which we have been, is we have parameters and perimeters that we
Yes.
choose, which is what you describe as preference. Can you talk about a little bit about the kind heart?
Yeah. Yeah. When you say the kind heart, um, what I heard in my mind, what I think about is the restored heart, because I do believe that historically our hearts have been broken. We've been shattered, we've been split. The war has we've sacrificed our humanity. And remember, the most quintessential aspect of our humanity is our heart. If the heart stops, we die. It's like all things come from the heart. It's the first organ that's formed. Like it is the center, literally, of who we are as humanity. And our hearts have been broken, and we have been operating as a species from that broken place. And even the Bible calls it like a hardened heart, like when your heart gets hard. And it talks about removing the heart of stone, like, and getting a heart of flesh, a heart that's tender. Like that to me is what it's all about, the restored heart. And I don't believe we can have a restored heart if we're not first reconciled to our own humanity, to who we are, to what we are, and to what we come from. And I do believe we were created and we are creators, and that's a huge part of what we've been at war with in our humanity because the story has brought pain, and things we've created have brought pain, and so we've been sort of at war with the fact that we create and that we are created. And I really believe that's why there's a war on humanity, because there's a wound. So to me, the kind heart, being absolutely committed and devoted to the kind heart, is being committed to the restored heart, to the restoration of our whole heart, and to having a tender heart rather than a hardened heart. That to me is where it comes from. It'll break you wide open. That's why empaths struggle. It's like, it's not always fun to feel everything, especially if we don't feel empowered at all.
But it is because the heart, oh my God, Amanda, let me just say, like, let me just drop into the now moment and be like, when you said restored heart, I just felt like goosebumps. And again, it's what I experienced when I first heard you so many years ago. It's this me cae el cinco, like something just happens all throughout my body. And my heart, I felt like a little ache, because it's like, oh, of course, like what you're saying, of course. Imagine who we are, all in the small, small in the all. When we've been hurt, when we've been heartbroken, the next relationship, poor person, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're either going to be raging at them, and this is what humanity does.
Mhm.
This is just so brilliant. Like, I just love the idea, and maybe we can work on adding that to the chapter on the kind heart is talking about the restoration, because it's not just the kind heart. I think we are born, our operating system starts with the kind heart, and then it gets raped and violated and invaded and taken
Hmm.
over, and we're
Exactly.
serving the master. And that's why empaths are like, are you kidding me? I've got to go
Hmm.
into my closet and hide while I'm shaking and build
Exactly.
moats and put alligators in the river. And
Hmm.
like, of course, we're at war.
Yes.
And let's
Yes.
validate that. Let's
Yes.
validate that for humanity. Of course, we're at war.
Hmm.
Of course, we're
Of
hyper
course.
vigilant. We are in complete trauma as a humanity and as the individual. Everything's the same. Everything's the same. So, Amanda, we have to go in and rewrite that chapter, please. Because it's the kind heart, but it's the restored heart.
Restored heart.
And
Yeah.
it has to have a perimeter, not a moat.
Yes.
Just,
Well, and
just
I
our
think
own
that
little perimeter.
the the hardened heart, when we're in survival mode and we're serving the system and we're in the matrix of lack, it's self-perpetuating. That's why I call it the extinction program, because we cannot survive. Again, if our hearts stop, we die. If we kill out, if we numb out the heart, if we harden the heart, humanity ceases to, what makes us human ceases to exist. So that I think it's just essential to have a tender heart rather than a hard heart, a hardened heart. But that's
And
scary.
right, and a tender heart, right? That is true. And tenderness is true intimacy. You've seen everything I post on Instagram. For
Hmm.
those of you who think it might be weird, but actually, I'm posting about the tenderness between humans, between children, between
Hmm.
animals, that this is part of our operating system, period. We cannot
Yeah.
lose
Yes.
tenderness. We cannot lose it. But if we are more evolved, we know our preferences, which are our parameters.
Hmm.
So, like you said, what did you say? Like the gold, the keeping the heart of gold, like who we place our heart with.
Yes.
Um, and we can hold an open heart for humanity. Right?
Hmm.
There is a perimeter, and it's I liken it to like when we were kids where we would like draw an outside circle and then color inside. We do we do get to vet. It's like it's like we do get to say, listen, in order for you to come into my heart, I need you to, let's say, be loyal or be tender. I
Yeah.
need
Hmm.
sweetness in the home.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
get to say, in order for you to come into this home, to my heart home, now that I know myself, now that I've healed, first part of the book, now that I've explored my operating system, now that I know my emotions, that's why the healing of humanity and of ourselves is so essential
Yes. Yes.
before we move out there.
Hmm.
This is the time. This is
Yeah.
the era. This is why empaths, the restored, the empowered empath, is so important.
Yes, essential. It's essential. It is. I really do see the restored heart, the restored, the empowered empath, the leadership it is. That's why it's the leadership of humanity. It's because I almost feel like we've had a surrogate mother, which is like the mimic program, the AI system. It's like the info's there, but there's not the intimacy. It's lacking intimacy, and the intimacy is so quintessential to who we are. So that's why it has to emerge. It has to come forth in order for humanity to not just survive, but to thrive. That has to come online fully. And I love what you said about the parameters of it. Like we can have a tender heart. And in fact, it is the tenderness. Going back to that vision of Jesus, like his heart was tender and it created boundaries, literally, like his
Yes,
fierceness, his protection, his absolute commitment to humanity and the heart of humanity, and humanity being restored and understanding what it is. Like that was it, like being restored to the Father, being restored to who we actually truly are. That was what he was fierce about. And I feel like that's the leadership of humanity right there. And it does create boundaries, I guess is what I'm saying. Like tenderness itself, allowing our hearts to be tender, shows us where our boundaries are. Because when your heart's tender, you can feel when there's like that density where you're like, that's why it gives you discernment. I think the tender heart is the key to discernment.
Yes, 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 yes. Discover, discern, decide. Like that, those are like my triple D's. I use it like tongue in cheek, like triple D's,
Love
but
it.
and let me see, you were just saying something that felt really good. Okay, yes. So, and I want to be really clear that I'm in no war vibiness. It's just sort of stating what we've been under, which is centuries, right? Millennia of being under systems or being raised in systems that were doing it without heart. Because in order to be at war, in order to have enemies, we can't have heart. Right? We
Yes.
must demean. We
Mm-hmm.
must feel superior to others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We must have them be inferior. We must, and this is in general, whether, I mean, however you want to play it out, whether it's masculine, feminine, whether, whatever, how, choose and pick the wars that we've been in.
Mm-hmm.
We must say that this religion is better. Like, we
Yep.
must demean in the superior, inferior paradigm. And it cannot, listen, we can't kill, torture, demean, subjugate anything, anyone,
Yes.
even animals, if we have a heart. They're
Exactly.
not possible. It can't coexist. So, and even, even in corporate world, we've just been under this veil of heartlessness. Although I really promote all throughout the book that the underbelly and the counterwave to sort of heartless systems, heartless without a heart,
Mm-hmm.
is that humans care.
Yes.
So even through all of this millennia of humanity being in sort of under heartless war vibiness, less of heart, I really want to say it like that, is the fact that humans have cared, humans have brought refugees in. Humans have cared for someone who broke their leg, right? We talk about
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the quote that was attributed to Margaret Mead. I'm not even sure if it's accurate, but the idea that the broken femur was a sign of care
Mm.
because someone had to help the human with the broken femur.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that it's not even love. We don't have to know people. Paramedics don't know people.
Mm-hmm.
Care. We don't know people when we, stand up for an older woman to sit on the bus. Humans have in their operating system this care code,
Mm-hmm.
which has kept us alive
Yes.
in spite of these systems, right? That don't
Yes.
work through the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so it is what will continue to keep us alive, which is why the heart, emphasizing the heart in the times that we're moving into, we're going back to the times. And you've been beating this drum. How long have you been beating this drum, Amanda?
Like 10 years now.
10 years now.
Yeah.
We have to awaken the heart, honor the heart. And I think what the book is adding and what you and I are adding is like, we get it, empaths. We know you've been violated. Don't worry, we get it.
Yeah.
And this is where we add the restored heart,
Yes.
parameters, perimeters, and preference.
Yes. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. We're not saying go out there and give away your heart, like
Right.
deplete your heart. That's not what we're saying.
And we're not talking about self-sacrifice. I think that's a big thing. We're not talking about sacrifice at all. Like unless you want to talk about, which again, I don't know why all these biblical things are coming to me, but being a living sacrifice, which is different. It's completely different. It's like, to me, being a living sacrifice is being alive day to day and dying every day. Like every day, having a
Mhm.
heart, it's like it will hurt. That's just part of it. You know what I mean? Like it's this incredible palette that we have that we can feel everything from joy and ecstasy and pleasure and intensity to sorrow and pain and grief and hopelessness, but that's part of it. Like that's part of being alive. And I think that there's something about learning how to work with our operating system, with those emotions, that's key to this next level of our evolution.
And that's what out in the 3D world we're calling emotional intelligence, which
Yes.
is what leadership paradigms are asking for more than ever. But Amanda, let me just say something because you've been saying it forever. That part of our operating system is that the empath is the one, because of our ability. Whew, this is really hard for me, even though I'm a master witnesser.
Mhm. You are.
I really am. It's part of all my psychic prowess is to be able to sit with and see the place you've been saying empaths hold the prowess of transmuting humanity's pain and and giving up on the vow I will suffer until there is no suffering.
Mhm.
It's more like I will alchemize. I will use my operating system, my vessel, to alchemize
Mm.
what's happening.
Yes.
And let me
Yes.
tell you where it's really pressing on me. I went and got my nails done yesterday, and one of the there were these group of nail technicians. They all sat around me and they were showing me stuff. And one of them from Vietnam was showing me pictures of abused animals.
Mm.
And I just remember like almost shutting down because my heart, I just started to, because she's been giving so much money in Vietnam that doesn't really honor this. And she showed me pictures of the animals getting operations and healing and care. So she's been sending a ton of money to these shelters in Vietnam. And I had a lot of experiences, but I want to share it. One of them, I thought, oh, you little empath leader.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the ways I was like, you empath leader.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's looking at these pictures that I could barely, I started crying basically
Yeah.
at the table. I just started crying. I couldn't bear it. And then I thought, Claudia, because I thought of you too, alchemize, transmute this,
Mm.
witness what she's doing,
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
Witness, because my heart is so tender
Yeah.
when it comes to animals and children. Like it is, each of us has a place that we have a hard time witnessing. For
Mm-hmm.
me, it's, but I docked in, I cried, and they cried. So we all cried as I'm getting my nails done. And I was like, here we are coming together as a group when three or more are gathered.
Mm-hmm.
This is all empath stuff. When people want to know what we're meaning,
It's
this is
that.
a now moment experience of what's happening. We all cried. There she is out doing her empath leadership. And I was just like, dock in right now because I'm surrounded by loving angels who are doing this work on the planet and help transmute and alchemize this. I know this is a little bit of a tangent, but it's actually a
No, it's
really
perfect.
concrete day-to-day example
Yes.
for those of us who are afraid to feel of how we can do it and how we can do it in communion.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I love that. I love that example. And I love that you brought up witness, which I think is a great place to probably like tie this up because I think we've been talking for quite a while.
Yes, yes.
Um, but I feel like witness is one of the primary energies that sets us free, that actually helps restore the heart. Because the story has to be witnessed. We are storytellers. Story is like it's innate to the human heart. Story is what makes us human. The stories we tell, the meaning we give things. And I really believe we're at, speaking of where we started here, the times we're in, we are at the arc of humanity's story, where humanity is doing something different. We are testament to that. We are
Yes.
choosing something different than we've done in the past. We're choosing to choose to do an anomaly and get out of war and mimic, regardless of what the system's choosing, and it will fall, as you said, because it's unsustainable. But the individual, there's so many individuals who are choosing anomaly. And a big part of that, in order, what you did in that moment is you witnessed. And in that witness, you not only were able to create communion, but you truly did alchemize that energy of trauma in that moment. And that is to me where all the power is. That's where the power is. It truly is in witness. I don't
Mhm.
think without witness we would have a restored heart. We could have a restored heart because you can't restore your heart if you can't first witness where the trauma has been and where the pain has been. It's
Yes.
huge.
Yes. And the invitation here is let's not do it alone. And I think when you said, and yeah, I wanted to, for us to have, so for my podcast, which is the Heaven on Earth podcast, um, which obviously is not about bypassing anything,
Hmm.
the messaging of, I don't, history will not repeat itself.
Yeah.
This is that we're having an explosion of evolution and consciousness and connectivity. The internet has connected. Like we
Hmm.
see everything happening everywhere now all the time. And I
Hmm.
happen to be a real believer. So this would be one of my heaven on earth messages. I wanted to ask you for one or for
Hmm.
several is history will not repeat itself because we are too conscious as a humanity at this point.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it doesn't look like the formula is playing out. Like,
Hmm.
oh my God, is the formula playing out like it always has?
Hmm.
And in every experiment, when one little variable changes, the whole experiment is
Thing
different.
changes. Yep.
The whole thing
Yep.
changes. And we are connected through the internet. Everyone's seeing what's happening on the other side of the globe
Mhm.
here, and we saw it. We've been seeing this. These are the times we're in. And there is, my heaven on earth message is healing through witness, through the awakened heart and the restored heart is the variable. These are the variables that will not allow history to repeat itself.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. I love that. I love that. And there's something that you said in that, like, the internet has given us the opportunity to witness in a way that we never have, to share and to witness. And it does bring light to things. When you were talking about if you change one variable in an experiment, I thought about the observer, how that we know that the observer changes the experiment. So going all the way back to, like, to me, part of heaven on earth for humans, for me individually and for human beings, is that we are creators and that we make meaning. So when we give it a different meaning, it changes inevitably.
You are just brilliant. I feel like I've known you. I like listen to you all the and it's like the codes keep dropping and this idea. Let's end with this. What do you think, Amanda? Let's end with Renaissance.
Yes.
Let's end with
Renaissance.
Renaissance and heaven on
Renaissance.
earth and like
Yes.
and let's be clear. I say this on my podcast. Listen, y'all. Heaven on earth isn't spiritually, emotionally bypassing anything that's hard. On the contrary, it is living in death and rebirth in Scorpio season, meaning that we are dying to parts of the shadow, parts of ourselves that are no longer sustainable, whether that be in the individual or the collective. And we
Mhm.
are rebirthing ourselves, which is exactly what Renaissance means in French. Renaissance means to be reborn. It is the
Mm.
resurrection if we go spiritually.
Yes.
We are in the process and it's messy. It
Hmm.
is messy. It is
Yes.
chaotic, but there's order that comes after chaos. That's
Yes.
what chaos
Inevitable.
theory
Yep.
holds.
Hmm.
Um, and Renaissance, so notice, like if I'm going to give any directives, notice the part of you that even in the chaos, we are urging for art, for music, for
Yes.
communion,
Yes.
for times of eating meals together,
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
music, and I'd like to really, really ask people there's a word called pronoia, and pronoia is to look instead of paranoia. It's pronoia. Isn't it gorgeous? Isn't that a
Yes, I
delicious
love it.
word? It's looking for the places in the world where things are getting better, where people do come together.
Mm-hmm.
There's crisis.
Mm-hmm.
Humanity does come together. Can we
Yes.
track that? So that's my heaven on earth.
Ooh, I love it.
How about yours, Amanda?
Amen.
Like,
Amen.
let's any words on Renaissance?
Um, yes. I mean, I guess I would just input and add and end that Renaissance. I love that you brought up rebirth. It's to me, it's taking all of that equation that we've had of the war and the trauma, and that it's the alchemy that you talked about. It's what do we do with all that is? And I keep getting the message that regardless of what is, I'm going to use all of it, like all of its fuel. All of it is energy. Energy is energy. Whether we categorize it as good or bad or whatever, it's all energy. And so knowing that I have the power to use all things, all things for heaven on earth, all things like it, we don't have to separate from it. We don't have to even categorize it. It's just like, yes, it's energy and I will use it. And there's something about, to me, the Renaissance goes hand in hand with being a creator. And that's why it's like, so I feel like the collective urge under humanity is we are urging for art. We are urging for like the arc of the story. And we're urging for storytellers. This is why I feel such like a connection to storytellers, writers, actors, people who tell stories for humanity, and even comedians. I've been hearing so strongly that comedians they're
Oh
needed right
yeah.
now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Comedians are needed, like to tell to there's something that when you can invoke communion in people without bypassing all that is, like use it all. I feel like I want to the call of arms specifically to the artists and to the creators. I just feel like you are so important right now, and we need storytellers that can just tell the human story, outside of the division, outside of having an agenda. Like, I'm going to tell this story so that people agree with my philosophy. But humanity's so incredible. Like, I just feel like that's why humanity always wins. That's why the stories about humanity are always stranger than fiction. As though they always say, you know what I mean? Like, truth is stranger than fiction. We don't need, like, what we have within us is so much greater than anything that we could catastrophize about, like Armageddon. Or I feel like we've been telling these same stories for so long, but the arc is happening. And I do believe there's creators that have the blueprint to see that story. And that's what I would say about the Renaissance is I can feel the creations that are coming, even on a bigger scale. And I just feel like, yes, go, take it, go, like, because it's going to change the world forever.
It is. And here we are. Anyone who's listening, if you were born in this time, you were born in this time. And I hope you feel, I mean, for me, Amanda was a call to arms.
Mm-hmm.
Amanda's presence as a creator, just her beingness. And I think beingness is creation. But we just hope, right, Amanda, and the other co-authors, that the book be a place um, that you could feel some rumbling, some pops, some glitter, some bubbles happening inside of you.
Yes, yes. Amen. I'm excited. So for anyone watching, just keep your eye out. I will, of course, let you know as we know further what the dates are, but I will let you know when the book is released. And I cannot wait to introduce you to the other co-authors as well, and just the overall message of the book. I feel like the time is now. It's so ripe. It's so mathematically aligned. And yeah, I just can't wait. I'm so excited for it. Thank you, Claudia. Thank you so much for this conversation and for
Thank
everything that you
you,
offer.
Amanda.
Thank you for your dream of this book and the fact that you brought it to fruition. And yes, I feel so grateful.
Thank you. And I just love doing this with you, just being in your field and, love making, like what we were
Yes,
talking about, love making through connecting with our mind, body, spirit,
exactly.
right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Amen. You're welcome. Thank you. I love you.
I love you.
Bye.